Hello and welcome back to Japan from Kyoto, which was the capital city for more than 1,000 years, from the 8th century to the 19th century, and it is the cultural capital of the country. There is so much to explore here: food, shrines, temples, historical streets, and a lot of nature surrounding the city too. So there's a lot to pack in. I will definitely not be able to see everything in the city and what it has to offer and be able to show it in just this video. Of course, it's going to take a lot more. So I will probably overlay some things at the end of the video that I didn't cover walking around. So if Tokyo is modern and business-like Japan, then Kyoto is certainly traditional Japan. And starting off here by walking towards the Kiyomizudera temple, which is one of the most visited and famous sites in the city. There are many different Buddhist temples and shrines. The list is almost endless. There's also an imperial palace. There's the Park of Nara, which is a day trip nearby. You have Arashiyama, which is in the northwest of the city. There is just so much to do here. So make sure to visit the Kiyomizudera out of peak times because it gets very crowded. So perhaps you want to aim for the sunset hour or the sunrise hour. It opens quite early. It also shuts fairly late, 6:30. And what makes this temple unique is that the school of Buddhism that it comes from originates in nearby Nara, and it hasn't been tainted or changed by any forms of Buddhism that came in the years following, where a lot of other temples were. So it stayed true to its origins, which gives it its own identity, and not to mention the fact that it sits on a hill overlooking the Kyoto basin. So going on a bit further in the Kiyomizudera, you can pay 400 yen to access the back part, and it is beautiful. You can see pagodas there and temple parts surrounded by nature in the distance too. And then the city of Kyoto this way, which we will get down to once finishing off exploring here. Some people at the bottom too. It is a huge complex with so much to see, and I think what makes Kyoto so special is that mix of the nature with its most iconic attractions, which are historical and beautiful. So really, it doesn't feel like much of a city when you come to somewhere like this, yet it's only 20 minutes walk from some of the main roads. So having come from the temple, it's now obviously dark here in Kyoto. I'm in the Gion district, and we just passed through some incredibly beautiful and atmospheric historical streets which date back a long way, used to be full of tea houses. Unfortunately, there is a photography ban on some of the streets, and I'm not gonna go down with my gimbal and camera and start videoing them. I did get one clip before I saw the sign for this particular street, which was incredibly beautiful, I really have to add, and I'll leave the name of it below. You can go in your own time and check it out. We are on the main road in Gion here, and so there is a few shops around and that kind of thing, but it's not quite the vibe of that small street where photography was banned. You can kind of get lost in those alleys just back there. We're going to continue on though, we'll see more, and once we reach Pontacho, we should see some lanterns at night and some wooden buildings and a very nice atmosphere. So walking on from Gion and entering into Pontacho, one of the most exciting streets in Asia, full of lanterns and old world restaurants, wooden buildings, all sorts. So let's take a walk. So traditionally Pontacho was the pleasure district of Kyoto, and that's why even today still there are lots of bars and places to, you know, grab a drink, izakayas as well for your yakitori and all this kind of stuff. And that's why it's such a narrow and enticing street, but the lanterns light up the way. It runs along right by the river. A glimpse inside one of the Pontacho restaurants. Most of them do not hold more than 12 people. Some of the geisha who you will see walking the streets, it's forbidden to take pictures or videos of them. Also another part of Kyoto's history. Almost every place is hidden by a curtain of some kind, a lantern hanging on the outside. The following morning, we made our way to a recognizable shrine complex in the east of the city. So this is Fushimi Inari Taisha, one of the most atmospheric and magical places in Kyoto, and 5 main shrines spread out across the mountain of Inari-san, san meaning mountain, and there are also sub-shrines as you work your way 4 kilometers up, and it is a mix of religion, history and nature all in one, and it gets quite busy during peak times, so bear that in mind, but it is also an amazing place to walk around. If you find the right time of day or a particular spot that's quiet, you'll find a little bit of tranquility. Let's explore a little bit more. Here is a map of the site to give you an idea of its scale, and you can see the vermilion torii gates as you make your way up, the tunnel of them that makes this place so famous. You can loop around and come back the other side if you plan it well enough. And if you come here during the winter, there'll be snow, and if you come here during the spring, you'll find the blossom, and autumn will have the red and brown leaves. I've now entered into the tunnel of torii gates. It is the Instagram picture point, as you can imagine, but it is magical as you make your way through the tunnel, and the bright vermilion color really standing out, as well as glimpses of the surrounding serene woods. So just passing one of the sub-shrines, and this one has a slightly different spin on it, which is the the same routine. You put your money in, you bow twice, you clap twice, and then you make your wish. But in this case, you have to lift up the stone, which probably has some history to it. I'm not exactly sure. But there is a long queue for this particular one. So obviously, a lot of people find it a good one to put their money towards. Even though this temple's crowded, there are lots of little spots you can go off on a little tangent in and explore. What do you think, Aidan?
Definitely getting a souvenir from here.
So this particular shrine is dedicated to Inari, who is the deity of foxes, sake, rice, agriculture, and business prosperity. That might sound like a lot of things, but they're all tied together in agriculture and the production and selling of goods. And the name of the mountain is Inari. So this is the original location of one of the main shrines, which serves as the head shrine of thousands across Japan. As you go around the shrine, you will come across many stone foxes. They are everywhere, and traditionally the Japanese see the fox as a somewhat mysterious animal capable of possessing humans, and I guess they used to inhabit this mountain, or they still do, which is probably why there's such an emphasis on them. Some more there, incense burning, and it's quite a long walk, the 4 kilometers all the way up to the summit of Inari. You don't have to do it, you can go up as far as you can get and then turn around and come down. If you can get to the top, then it's a loop to get round to the main shrine at the bottom. It will be a long trip and it will take you a good few hours to do the whole thing, so just be prepared for that if you decide to visit. So we've stopped for lunch in this very cool looking place. You can see the vibe around, sitting on the floor, but your feet go in like so, which is a nice addition. Aidan there with his, what have you got?
It's like a hamburger grilled patty with teriyaki sauce, salad and rice.
All right, and I have got a speciality of Kyoto, which is Nishin soba. It's buckwheat noodles and then you have a herring on top. There are a few things that you should indulge in Kyoto, one being the sweets, but also because Kyoto has a famous history of water, things like soba, noodles and sake and also tofu are associated with the city's history because they take a lot of water to produce. Anyway, let's dig in and try the dish. Hello and good morning, welcome back to Kyoto. We are here in Arashiyama, which is in the northwest of the city on the outskirts. It's a beautiful area. So starting here by crossing the famed Togetsu-Kyo Bridge, which separates one side of Arashiyama from the other. We just went to the monkey park up there, which has macaques, the only breed that you'll find in all of Japan. You pay 600 yen to go in, and it's kind of a nice experience to see them and feed them, and they have free roam of the forest park area, which is nice to see as well. Aidan, you don't normally eat ice cream. What have you got there?
It's almost finished, but yeah, grape flavoured.
Okay, and how's the experience been with the grape?
Well, you tell me. Yeah.
Well, you tell me, you ate it.
Very nice. Yeah, I think they had melon, mango, grape, all the kind of fruit flavours that I'm a big
also
fan of.
matcha, which is green tea powder. And matcha you'll find in so many desserts in Japan, as well as ice cream in anpan buns. Hi. Coming off the main street, make sure to walk through the bamboo forest. The rustling of the leaves is very relaxing to listen to. It also cuts off the sound from the main street, which is nice. It's a little crowded at times, of course, because lots of people visit this area, but the further in you get, you will see less people. Heading in a taxi from Arashiyama in the late afternoon, we visited the famed Kinkakuji. The Golden Pavilion is one of Japan's best-known sights. Its main hall is covered in gold leaf with a tranquil backdrop of beautiful gardens, which you can wander through as you make your way around. Like other spots, it can get packed here on any given day of the year, so it's best to go early or just before the closing time like we did, ideally on a weekday. Finally, from Kyoto, I recommend visiting Nara as a day trip. You can easily get there within an hour by train. Nara was Japan's first permanent capital, and perhaps it's best known today for its deer, of which there are over 1,200 that roam freely across Nara Park. A lot of tourists feed them deer crackers or shika senbei, which is a nice experience, but keep in mind that these deer are wild animals and are perfectly capable of finding their own food. The crackers are more like snacks for them. In Nara, don't miss Todaiji. The Daibatsu Den or Great Buddha Hall is the largest wooden building in the world. Inside you'll gaze upon the Daibatsu Great Buddha, unveiled in 752 upon completion of the Great Buddha Hall. The present statue was recast in the Edo period. The Buddha is over 16 meters high and consists of 130 kilograms of gold. That's all for this Kyoto video. There is so much to pack in. You could spend a week here, like in Tokyo, and not see everything. So you'll want to plan carefully which temples and shrines you want to see and at what times you'll be visiting them. Otherwise, you'll get stuck in crowds and you might end up missing something that you did want to see. So just plan carefully for Kyoto and enjoy your time there. It goes without saying that Kyoto is endlessly impressive. I loved it. It's probably the best place in Japan, and in that sense, it's a do not miss. You can't really visit without including Kyoto in your itinerary. For the next video, I continue my journey around Japan on to Osaka, which is not far away on the train. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you on the next one.